Notts County Talk. It's episode 119 of the Pavis Perspective. Another Thursday, another show, another Thursday, another defeat, George. Actually, no, it's not. It's two defeats. Two defeats. We sat here and I said to you, what's your confidence in percentage of getting 2 wins? You said 5%. You weren't wrong, were you?
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. It should have been 0%.
Should have been 0%.
Should have been 0%. It's been awful, hasn't it? It's been so poor. I mean, I'll be honest, I really didn't see this run coming, especially after. I know I keep going back to it, but like the performance at Newport, it felt like we turned the corner a bit. The performance was there against a side that were the most informed side in the league at that time. So, yeah, it's surprising, and the nature of the result on Tuesday night. It really reminded me of the sort of games we were seeing when we got relegated. And I know that for me personally, I think relegation is off the cards. You know, we're way out of that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's what it reminded me of. That sort of, you're 1-0 up. Just, I know you've gone down to 10, but just have that character to sort of make up that for that lost man. Have the energy, have the grit, and they just didn't. They really didn't. And Slocum's hard work was all undone, wasn't it?
It was. Let's get stuck into it then. We've got the Wimbledon games to talk about as well, which we can't forget about. I'd like to, but we can't. As always, we are powered by BetterBats Computer. You will have seen their logo at the start of the show. Quote, Pavis Perspective when you go in or phone up for discounts on computer repairs or refurbished computers. Fantastic Notts fan-owned business in Nottingham. And if you're listening back on Spotify, please do drop us that 5-star review. I've noticed as well, we're getting a fair few viewers through Twitter as well. So if you're on there, can we ask you this evening? I can already see we've got 31 viewers. It's creeping up. Viewers on Twitter, can I ask you to give it a retweet? We've not really experimented with that, but yeah, give us a retweet if you are watching live on Twitter. We'll see how many we can get, see if we can build that viewership. Another few viewers coming in now, up to 34. So yeah, please do give us a retweet. We'll massively appreciate that. We've got Mark with us this evening, Nigel, Maggie, Julie, Robbie, Ben, Ian, Alex, John, Helen, Phil, Chris, Steve, Glenn, loads of you this evening. So thank you for joining us. We do want to hear your thoughts. I am trying to read through the comments as we're going, but there are so many and it's very, very unhappy. Charlie says, any opposition fan? Not this evening, Charlie. We thought it's always good to get them on, but there's an awful lot to talk about in terms of what's going wrong at the minute. And with 2 games, we just want to talk about the issues and we've got plenty to say ourselves. After the Wimbledon game, we received a tweet from somebody that said, just tell us what you think, lads. And it's really hard, isn't it, George, to do that on Twitter, really, to get it across. So we thought we'd wait for tonight. So if you're that person that asked us to tell us what you think, we're going to tell you this evening, actually with another defeat on our minds. George, Wimbledon. They didn't. This is the problem. And Maynard said it in a positive way. Like a few weeks ago, he said they didn't really have to do much to beat us. And he tried to put a kind of a positive spin on it, basically saying they didn't have much to do. It's not a positive spin, is it? And did Wimbledon have to do much to beat us?
No. They just needed a set piece, didn't they? Was it a long throw?
Long throw.
Yeah. It's been a problem for a long time, I think, for us, defending things like that. But Wimbledon, we played all right. We played quite well, I think, in that sort of first sort of hour, I suppose. But we need to capitalise when we are on top, and we didn't do that against Wimbledon. And it's concerning because we were scoring plenty of goals. Now we're not. But we're still conceding, and that's the problem. I think, we've tried to shore up a little bit too much at the back maybe, and it's disrupted the going forward and the scoring goals and the creating of chances. So the balance is just way off. And I don't think we're defending our own box well enough at all. There's so many factors that sort of contribute to this. It's difficult for me to be a hard, out or in, but it's a difficult time at the moment for sure.
It is. That takes us to our poll question. Our poll question this evening is there's three options. It's, are you Maynard in, are you Maynard out, or are you genuinely not sure? And what's strange about it is, I know what you're saying, George. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors. So in tonight's show, we're going to keep going over that Wimbledon game. We're going to go over the game. Wow, if you travel down to Crawley, fair play to you. If you're one of those 300-400 odd fans, fair play. Or if you watched it on iFollow, you'll know what we're talking about. And then we're going to talk about, as honestly as we can from our perspective, who we think is to blame and whether we think Maynard should stay or is his time up. So yeah, that Wimbledon game, George, it is a really difficult one, because without wanting to sort of give him an easy way out, Mac has missed from 6 yards out. And within 10 minutes, they've gone up the other end and Rollo's put it in his own net. Now, as unbelievable actually as Slocum was on Tuesday night, for me, he was at fault for at least one of the goals on Saturday. And that's why we're in this mess as well, because we don't have a goalkeeper. We have a goalkeeper that can put in maybe one of the best performances I've ever seen of a Notts keeper in the last 10 years on Tuesday night. It was brilliant. Like, if you think back to the first half, there was one that was floated over the top of one of our centre-backs, and it's a one-on-one, and he comes out and parries it, gets rid of it. But the game before is just poor, isn't it? It's really poor. So
the one that frustrates me with Slocum is I think it was the first Wimbledon goal, was it? When he does like a spin in the box.
Second.
Oh, is it the second?
Yeah.
What on earth would make a keeper do that? Even if there's a man barging into you, never ever turn your back on the ball when it's more or less in your 6-yard box.
Yeah.
What on earth? That goes against every principle in football as a keeper. I honestly couldn't. When I saw the replay back, I couldn't believe what I'd seen. But then you say he sort of redeems himself on Tuesday, but we can't. We've been hanging in the balance for so long now with a keeper. That's not what we need. I don't think. I think we're dying out for just a trusty keeper that what you're going to get out of them every game. The decent passing out from the back. We're dying out for that, because with respect to what we have at the minute, it's not to the standard we need.
It's nowhere near the standard we need. Before I go on to your point, we're up to almost 100 viewers on Twitter as well. If you just joined us, please do retweet. We're trying something tonight where we try and get as many retweets on Twitter as possible. So if you are watching us, just give us a retweet, please. We would massively appreciate that. George, you said last week that you would invest heavily in a keeper, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought, yeah, I'm not really 100% sure about that. I think it's absolutely essential. That should be the first person on the shopping list next season, more than a defender.
Yeah.
More than a defender. I don't know who. I think we'll go into next season, and if I'm honest, as well as Slocum played on Tuesday night, I would like to go into next season with Tiernan Brooks as our second choice and a brand new keeper. Ashby Hammond will be gone. I don't think Aidan Stone will be here. And when
this is the layers to the problems, though, because those, Stone's got another year, Slocum's got another year.
That's massive issues.
That's crazy. Crazy. I don't know.
Huge issues.
You could go through the whole squad, and I think you could probably say some of the extensions were a little bit too much, I think, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. Callum, gifted one that's County Talk membership. Thank you, Callum. Massively appreciate that. You must have watched, so I'd say you've been maybe all 119 episodes. Very close to 119 episodes with us, which is amazing. I remember once you were watching the cinema with the opening credits. That is dedication. So thank you so much, Callum. There's just someone's saying that Slocum's contract's up this year.
Is it?
But even if I know we've got like Brinley on another year, haven't we? And Rollo on another year, if I'm thinking correctly. There are layers and layers to the problems. You know, at 2-0 at Wimbledon, fans streamed out, like in droves as well. And we never, ever leave a game early, do we? We never leave a game early. But in the 90th minute, we'd gone down to watch from the steps of the Pavis just to get out as quickly as possible. I know it's only a few minutes and we're 2 down, but like that goes against everything we normally do. We stay no matter what, and we'd walk down to the steps and watch from down there. And you know, as soon as that final whistle went, the atmosphere again, absolutely toxic, horrible atmosphere. And you know, that's what 7 losses and 8 does for you. So
yeah, and I think going into the season as well, and sort of throughout, we've been promised a promotion push, and we've fallen massively short. We're gonna be closer. I think at the minute, I can't really see, you know, what happened, how we turn it around. And look, we've got injuries, but that's part of the game. Every club has injuries. It's an important player, obviously. We've got important players out injured, but we've got to find a way now, because it's getting to the point where we are going to end the season closer to being relegated than we are being in the playoffs. Yeah.
And I know you said it earlier, and I agree with you. Honestly, there's no way we're going down. We're not getting relegated. And
I agree.
Yes, it's mathematically possible. We're not getting relegated. You're talking about a side that have got 1 game in hand on us that are 15 points behind us, right? They're going to have to start picking up 1.5 points per game. And they've got Wrexham still to play. They've got Crewe still to play. They've got us still to play. And if it got into a relegation battle, you know, they're coming to our place. And they've got, did I say Stockport? They've got Mansfield still to play as well. That even if they picked up points, you've got teams below them that have still got to catch us up. We don't go down. There's no way we get relegated. But what I do think is if we finish something like 18th, 19th, 20th, we're not as attractive to a player coming in as if we finish just outside the playoffs. Even if we don't make the playoffs. If we finish the season with maybe, I don't know, 2-3 wins in the last 15, 16, 17 games, 20 games even, or we finish the season with 4 wins out of 5, that's massive, because momentum does carry over to another season. It really does. Look at Forest Green last year. Their momentum was diabolical. They were straight down at the bottom again this year. Like it genuinely does carry over. Look at Wrexham. They've gone up. I know they're a little bit different. They're going up again. Ipswich in the Championship went up. They're going up again. Momentum 100% carries through, with the exception of the Premier League, I think, because that's just such a vast difference. It really can carry over. So that's my thoughts. There's no way we're going down. Massive viewers now on Twitter, so keep retweeting, please. Up to 308 viewers across both platforms, which is absolutely massive. So really do appreciate that. George, going from the Wimbledon game, we were kind of confident going into that game. Like out of the 2 with that and Crawley. How was you feeling going into the Crawley game on Tuesday night? I just thought there's no way we get a win here.
I knew we'd lose.
Genuinely,
Genuinely.
What did you make of the opening 20?
Good. We were good. Exciting. And look, we went 1-0 up, and I thought, here we go. This could be it now. We could, you know, get a decent performance together and try and win.
Yeah.
And I looked at the table. I literally, because we watched the game together, didn't we?
Yeah.
I looked at the table and I thought, hold on a minute. We've got games in hand over 7th here, and we're still only 5 points off them or 6 points off them. Like, if we go on a run now, we could. And then all of a sudden, you know, 45, 60 minutes later, what was it? It's done. And it's just, it sort of sucks the life out a little bit, doesn't it, to be honest?
Yeah, it really, really does. I thought the opening 20 was fantastic. And I know it's only it's like just under a quarter of a game. But I looked at that first 20 and we watched it together, didn't we? We went to someone's house to watch the game. We both were sat there and I said to you, these aren't players that aren't playing for their manager in that opening 20. Like, we were superb. And then we scored. Sam Austin gets the goal. And then we just finished. Like, it's like we just switched off and we're like, right, we've got one goal, let's defend. Whereas last year, we'd have gone and got 2, 3, 4. Even at the start of the season, would have pushed for 2, 3, 4 goals. They like became rabbits in headlights. And there was that spell where they hit the bar and you were going mad, to be fair. He had like almost 10 yards to himself on the edge of the area, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And then it
But
was
we got away with it, to be honest. I think if Slocum wasn't on his A game, which he was, like better than that, to be honest. Some of the saves he pulled off were brilliant. It could have been an absolute drumming, couldn't it?
How many genuinely, let's say our keepers, at which we've already established on the whole are not, despite the good performance, are not at League Two standard, not the way I want to be. If one of our keepers was just having just a normal day, how many do you reckon would have conceded?
Easily, at minimum 3 more.
3 more.
Easily.
I agree. And it's not sustainable to play and concede 31 shots on your own goal. Like, it's a weird one because I thought the performance was okay, but when you average it out and there's a shot every 3 minutes on your goal, that's exceptionally poor. What do you make of this argument then? The argument that the performance didn't matter for that game because our run was so bad that only that game in isolation, it was win at all costs and then build on it from there. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I kind of find it hard to have a solid opinion on that sort of way of thinking. From a personal perspective, I think that would have been the right way to go about things. Just to try and get a win, boost the confidence. But I mean, I think we know from talking to previous players that if a manager sort of goes against his principles and changes the way he plays, he can really lose players. Like, he can think, look, this manager's buckled under the pressure and he's changing his ways. He doesn't believe in the way that he's trying to play. So I think
Neil Ardley at the end of his time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like that sort of principle of, well, if he's trying to win a game by changing the way that he wants to win games, he doesn't believe in the way that he wants to play. And players don't like that, especially players that play it for a club for a reason. So the win on the night could be a good thing, get confidence back in. But it's that, like, I suppose it's like losing respect a little bit, isn't it? Because it's like you've come into and said that you're going to play a certain way. You've changed the way you played just to try and get that win. So it's I think it's short-sighted, to be honest, to think like that. So yeah. In actually talking that out on here, I am actually against that way of thinking.
Even for one game.
Because it could be catastrophic. You could lose 3 or 4 of the main players. Like, imagine Jody and Langstaff and Crawley say, look, this manager wants to win anyway, and we don't want to play like that. And then, heads start dropping even more than they already are.
I'm not gonna dig him out because he's been unreal this season. I'm not gonna call him out, Jody. But did you see his body language on the few clips? There's like a montage of Slocum saves. Did I send you that?
Mm-hmm.
Every single time there's a shot, his hands are in the air. He's turning around, looking at other players, looking at the bench. It's not a good look. And we said it we meant it earlier in the season, but we said on a few of these podcasts, what must people like Jody be thinking and what must people like Dan Crawley be thinking with what's behind them and what's happening. And now you're starting to see it. Like, they must be absolutely fed up of it. But you know what really got me? What really, really just doesn't make sense? In Maynard's interview after the game, he said, "Oh yeah, we changed Jody over because he's not he's not made for running back towards his own goal and being put in that position by the fullback." Did you hear that, or did you even listen? Because I know some people just couldn't bear.
Yeah, I did.
He said we swapped over because Jody's not comfortable doing that, and we nullified it. But why put him in that position for 45 minutes then against a player that's obviously quality? That's what I don't get. Some things don't add up. There was one in, like, I think it was after the Gillingham game, wasn't it, where he said, he said we've made ourselves hard to beat, and then in the next line said they haven't had to do much to beat us. It doesn't add up. It really, really doesn't add up. But we lead the game. We're going into 15 minutes. Your honest gut feeling, if Scott Robertson doesn't get sent off, do we win the game?
I don't think we do now.
Do we lose the game?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think we'd have won though, because they were just put banging pressure on us, weren't they?
Do you think it would have just been too much?
Yeah, I do. I think it'd have been a minimum a draw. Yeah, that's the confidence has just gone for me.
Do you remember what I said to you about 5 minutes before the red?
Yeah.
And if we could see it sat at home, I said to George 5 minutes before the red, both our centre mids are on yellow cards here. And look at who the centre mids are. Robbo loves a tackle. Jimmy loves a tackle. It was bound to happen. So we get the red. This has caused a lot of debate, George. What are your thoughts on those subs?
Just too late. Way too late. You know, we're chasing a game.
But do you think they're good subs?
No.
As in too late because Robbo should have been hooked earlier, being on a yellow?
Robbo or Jim.
Both.
I know, obviously, the emphasis gets put on Robbo because he had a red card. But, you know, just like you said, the two midfielders were on yellows. Bring another midfielder on. Freshen it up a little bit in the midfield and, you know, try and take the pressure off, because, you know, you're halving your chance of your midfielders being sent off if you do that.
What about bringing Jody and Crawley off for Toby and Colker, players that haven't played more than like 10 minutes of competitive football for months and months and months?
Yeah.
When you make those subs?
I don't get it. And look, these players have to come in for sure. And I want those players to get game time, especially Toby, because I think there's definitely a player there in Toby, but it's just giving him that run of games, isn't it? But, you know, to bring off, like you say, those two players, Crowley and Jody, who are the most creative, supply Langstaff with the most chances, what's going to happen?
What do you think Mac has stood there on the halfway line thinking now? Like those two subs have come off. Like, who is going to supply him the ball? I think, I mean, he's bound to, and it's not his fault. Colquitt looked absolutely shattered after running for 5 minutes. He's barely played any football. Toby's not going to supply him with anything. You've got Aaron the man, who's played 90 minutes. I just don't know. We're going to get onto recruitment in a little bit, but do the goals that we conceded still hurt as much as if we've been higher at the table? Is it worse conceding the goals the way we're doing? Do you just expect it now?
I wouldn't say I expect it, because I still want Notts to do well, and I will always be on the side of Notts doing well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I've ever predicted Notts to lose on here, have I? Maybe I have. I can't remember.
No, neither of us have, I don't think. Yeah,
so we always want what's best for Notts, because we're Notts fans at the end of the day. So you always go into a game with optimism. For me personally, genuinely, on Tuesday I went into the game with no optimism. I thought we were going to lose that game, but Saturday I was optimistic. I thought, you know, this is a big game. Like, we could really turn it around. And then the first half was points. You're thinking, if we build on that in the second half, we can win this game. They were there for the taking.
Yeah.
And we didn't take them.
No, we didn't. So yeah, very, very disappointing both games. Which disappointed you more? I'd say Wimbledon for me.
Crawley for me, without a doubt.
Really?
Without a doubt. Just because of, like you said, the obvious substitutions. Just that, I think we lack a little bit of desire as well.
I don't necessarily think we're a battling team at all. Look at the games where we've had to seriously battle to go toe to toe.
When Crawley equalised, what was you thinking?
When Crawley equalised?
Yeah.
Well, I turned to you and said, when the red card, I said we lose this game. So when Crawley equalised,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, so sometimes I'll sit there and I think to myself, like, even when a team just equalised, like, right, we're back to 1-1 or 2-2, whatever happens in a game, and I think to myself, we've got the other end here. There's absolutely no way we're going up the other end. We could have had 11 men and we wouldn't have gone and got another goal. But for me, Wimbledon disappointed me the most. It did disappoint me the most. We were at home and we capitulated, and that felt like one of the final nails in the coffin, really, I think. I did see that. Crawley Town went over the top at the end of the game, celebrating with the fans that they've won the league. I do get that. I really do get that. But you've got idiots like me and George predict them to finish bottom, and they've just gone and, I mean, he's got those fans exactly where he wants them, hasn't he? And we've got the complete opposite. We've got a manager that I mean, we'll look at the poll results soon, that doesn't have very many fans wanting him remaining at all. We're up to over 200 viewers on YouTube and almost 200 on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, please just do retweet this, because it means we can get more people in, we can get more opinions, see what people are thinking about the current situation. So it leaves us, George, with 2 losses in a week, and then it leaves us heading for 2 more away fixtures. Well, apparently we're better away from home, aren't we? That was what we thought. We go to Accrington.
Yeah.
And then we go to that Bradford fixture that was rearranged. How do you, any confidence in those 2 games?
No, there's not. And until proven otherwise. If we put a good performance in a win, you start to regain confidence, don't you? But to lose 5 on the trot, how can you have confidence? You can't.
No.
It's blind faith, isn't it, if you do?
It is. I mean, from where we were to 10 points off the playoffs, having conceded 70 goals. 70 goals with 10 games remaining. I could see us going into a couple of games and conceding 4 or 5. So we could easily...
I can't, to be honest.
We conceded 4 a couple of games ago against Sutton, bottom of the league.
Yeah, I can't see us doing that again, though. That's one thing I'll say.
Stockport? Well, they're in bad form anyway.
Well,
I'll tell you who I could see putting a fair few passes if it doesn't change is MK Dons. They are flying. More than Grimsby, we said last week.
Yeah, flying.
Any Grimsby fans watching, we can't really say much, but you're flying as well. I think they had a good win in the week, to be fair. And this is really the honesty part we were speaking about at the start of the show. Who's to blame, George?
Everyone.
Who's to blame?
Everybody. I think it's the modern way, isn't it? So this is probably going to be quite a long answer, but we've got time. So I think there's a lot that can be blamed for this. I think there's names being flown around online as well, like the sort of recruitment side of things of Richard Montague. People are saying Maynard, people are saying the players. I think it's a combination of all of those, to be honest. Maynard was sort of sniped by us, was bought in by us, was the favoured man. So like you've sort of said, I don't really think it's...
If he's not applied for the job, this is my genuine thinking. If he's not applied for the job and he was just poached, that falls heavily on the owners.
Recruitment, yeah.
If he's applied for the job, and people are saying, oh, he must have been poached because they got compensation. No, he can still apply and we give compensation. It just wouldn't look favourable. Do I think he applied, the send-off they gave him? No, I don't think so. If he'd applied, that would suggest he's like, yeah, I'm well up for this. I can take on the challenge. Then I'm putting it more on him.
Yeah, 100%. But then you look at some of the games, individual errors, concentration lacks, quite often. But we saw that under Williams as well. But it seems, more evident now. As momentum ran out from last season, I think that's probably one of the contributing factors. And it's leaving me questioning whether having... I don't really know as fact if the head coach has any say in transfers. But for me, as a head coach, we really didn't need to spend 100 plus K on Jata. He's sitting on the bench, and then there's pressure then on him to play him from fans because, we've all said it. Wow, we're chasing the game. Why don't you bring Jata on for longer than 5 minutes? But, Maynard sees more of him. So that's more pressure, I think, from above. So I think not having control over transfers could be an issue, as to why we're in this position. Because I know what I'd have been screaming for if I was head of coach at Notts when Maynard was brought in.
I think there were a couple of clues that Williams wasn't happy with that in some earlier interviews in the season.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say.
A couple of clues.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
You could be right. And then you look at the recruitment side of things. The players that we have recruited from January, the only real one that's done well. I know you've got to give players time, but January is the sort of signings where the players need to come in and they need to hit the ground running. And Robbo's the only one that's done that for us. So, yeah, I think it's literally a contribution of so many different factors. I think it's recruitment. I think it's, there is part of it down to Maynard. You've got to be able to get a tune out of what you've got, because at the end of the day now, the run that he's on, it purely reflects on him from a manager's point of view. His next job after Notts, whether it be, in a week or in 2 years, they're going to look back on his time at Notts, aren't they? So he's got to turn that around for his sake. So whether it's the motivation thing, I'm not sure. But then the players as well, like the players have equally, not performed to the level that we know that they can perform to. So look, I think it's easy to stick it on the manager, but there's so many factors for me that have made his life extremely difficult.
That concerns me, though. That many concerns me. Like, it's not an easy fix. There's so many issues. I think someone's put in the chat here, Mike Williamson didn't come to us because of recruitment. I think we wanted him before Luke Williams. Yeah. And thank goodness we didn't get him. People say, it would have been great to get him, but we wouldn't have had Williams and we may not have been promoted. You never know. I think, like I already said, if he applied for the job, there's a lot more on him. If he was headhunted, then, look what he's come into. Look at the recruitment. Robertson, free. Right? Colker, injured and loan. Warner, youth player on loan. Ashby Hammond on loan. Whoever he arrived from, I can't remember, didn't really have great things to say about him, and neither did Notts fans from when they previously watched him. Right, so they spent nothing on there apart from wages, maybe a small loan fee, but I doubt it. And Jata, like you say, he could be fantastic next season, and we're not writing him off. But was it what we needed now?
No,
because if we hadn't have picked up points and we got relegated, if you just joined, we've said we're not getting relegated. There's no way we're getting relegated. But if we were in a worse position and we hadn't have picked up like the win at Newport, okay, and a couple of draws, and you spent 150k on a striker and 125k on a striker and we go down, that's criminal recruitment. He might turn out to be incredible, and I hope he does. I never want to write a player off, and I'm like you. I never want to write a manager off. But if things aren't working, we have to say it. Recruitment's been dreadful, really, really poor. But at the same time, you as a manager, you can't lose 7 and 8. You can't lose seven out of 8. And there are games now when you're like, come on, if Maka puts it in from 6 yards against Wimbledon, we may go on to win the game. If he scores after 2 minutes against Wrexham, and if Dids' handball is rightfully given as a goal when it's not a handball, we may go on to win that game. The one that crossed the line against Mansfield, I know we keep talking about it, but it's relevant. We may go on to draw that game or even win that game. But they haven't happened, and we've lost. And we've lost 7 and 8. And I don't really see, regardless of people saying he's got to the end of the season. I saw someone tweet us saying he's got to the end of the season regardless of any result.
No.
No way. If he loses the next 5-6 in a row, no one will keep him. That brings us to the question, George, of, we'll go on to the poll in a minute, but if we lose to Accrington, do you think that's it? It would be
Maynard.
Yeah, it will be 8 losses in 9.
Yeah, I think that would be it. To be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised if that was it on Tuesday.
I know you did say it in the post-match video,
But you can't lose 6 games in a row. Like how many clubs in the football league would hold on to a manager if they lost 6 games in a row?
I can't think of any. But it's the way we do it. The way we've recruited him gives me a little bit of doubt in the back of my mind. Like, sacking a manager after, 9 or 10 games, after they waited so long to appoint a manager, it just completely admits defeat.
Yeah, I agree. And then that does make me think then that it's not the owner's style, is it?
No.
It's really not. So,
and I think it... But then did it... I don't know if it actually took that much to get rid of... Like, Ardley, we were still hovering around, like, just outside the playoffs with Ardley. It didn't take that much to get rid of Ardley. And it could have been...
I think it was a style thing there, wasn't it? We'd lost our way a little bit under
I mean,
Ardley.
yeah. They kept him in. He was already in charge when they came in, wasn't it? So he was sort of on borrowed time from the minute they came in. But a lot of people saying Warnock. I said that was absolutely stupid weeks and weeks ago. Probably is still stupid now, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
Tom, you've been warned.
He wouldn't stand for that. No, I wouldn't have him in. But he wouldn't stand for 6 losses in a row. He was shocking at Aberdeen. Absolutely shocking. He was saying Sheridan went 9 straight games for him. Sheridan only went after we lost 10 on the spin. Yeah, that's crazy, but I don't know. This is a massive mountain to climb now. And football is football. And obviously it's a slim chance. We could pick up...
Whoa. Say that again.
Football's football.
That is groundbreaking.
Cliche. But we could win the next 2 games. Very unlikely. We could come away with 2 wins, and then what? But I think we're at the point now where if he won a game a few weeks ago, it would kind of turn the tide. I think he has to win 2 games in a row. Do you know what I mean? We're that far back now. We've had that many issues. If we'd have won against Crawley, would you be like, yeah, corner turned? After conceding 31 shots with a win against Crawley, I'd be like, nah, I'm not convinced.
No, we'd have just edged it then, won't we? If we'd have conceded that many shots.
Yeah. I mean, 31 shots is ridiculous. And I don't know really what to say about that, but it's horrendous. We're going to get onto our team in a minute. Should we go for the poll question?
Okay. Tonight's question for the poll is, are you Maynard in? Are you Maynard out? Or genuinely can't decide? Maynard in gets 19%. Maynard out gets 57% of the vote. And genuinely can't decide gets 24% of the vote. So obviously...
Have you voted?
I have voted.
This is going to be interesting. What have you voted?
I'm Maynard out.
Okay. I mean, you said it. I voted genuinely can't decide. But I tell you what.
Oh, I sat on the fence.
No, genuinely can't decide. But my mind will be firmly made up by full time on Saturday. 100% made up. Even an amazing performance with a draw, not enough. Not enough.
Yeah.
Martin says there's no way they'll sack Maynard this season. They'll see the season out and what we've got on all fronts. There's something, and everyone can have their own opinions, and I don't actually agree with people that are personally posting things about they're getting personal with Stuart Maynard. The guy comes across as a very nice guy. I wouldn't ever say anything personal about him, and a lot of the things that were said on social media were said straight after full time. And then I saw some with a lot of emotion. I saw some actually in the morning as well on Wednesday, yesterday. And it's come on. I know he's got a Twitter account as well, and people were tweeting him and tagging him. I don't like stuff like that personally. But something, and I don't know what it is. Let's be honest. I'm not sat here happy with 7 losses and 8, or even saying it's acceptable. It's completely unacceptable completely unacceptable. But there's something nagging in the back of my mind because I do think he would go to another side, whether it's in the National League again, and I think he'll do well. I mean, I genuinely think if we get rid of Maynard, he'll be the Wheelstone manager on the first game of next season.
Do you really?
They're one place above the relegation places. He'll just go back there. I'm pretty sure. I mean, no one's going to take him in League Two, are they? I can't. I don't know. But my mind will definitely be made up. Got a question here. What were the rumours you've heard about player unrest? Well, it's just from what we've seen on social media, really. That Bostock and Didsey apparently are unhappy. I mean, it sounded like Bostock was injured because they said, will he be back in? If he's not back in, we'll know. But, George, who are you having the midfield two at the weekend if Bostock's not back in?
Me and you.
I'm going to go put my boots on.
No,
we'd be a great pivot, we would.
What have we got left?
It'd be Sanderson and Jim.
Colcutt.
No, he can't start.
Why?
He can't start.
He can.
Colcutt cannot start. He wouldn't make 45 minutes.
I don't know.
Dan said Jim and Austin. I'd go...
Yeah, Jim and Austin's a shot.
I'd go genuinely Sanderson and Cisse. Or Sanderson and Gill. I would. Is that bloke still knocking around? Sloth?
Who?
Casper Sloth. Is he still playing?
I
think he retired, personally.
What a strange signing that was as well.
Yeah, incredibly strange signing. Incredibly strange. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. It's not always this doom and gloom. And this is probably, George, the most downbeat we've ever been. But we've just lost 5 on the spin and 7 in the last 8. And we actually paid to watch that game. But luckily, we didn't pay to travel all the way down. So, as I've said earlier, let me know in the chat if you're one of the 300 to 400 travelling fans that went down to Crawley, because that's incredible dedication. Yeah. So George's Maynard out as he's voted. Can't decide, but I will have decided by Saturday at full time. I think.
What if it's a draw?
No, it's got to be out.
Well,
I mean, it'll have to be something incredible, like to show the players are still playing for him. Like we're 3-0 down and we finish 3-3, and the players fight back for him.
Okay.
But I'm watching that football, and I know we can't defend, and we haven't been able to defend all season. But I'm seeing players that in those opening 20 still playing for him, and there's just something niggling in the back of my mind. It's completely unacceptable how many games we've lost. Atrocious. And my mind will be made up on Saturday. And you know why I'm kind of on the fence, George? Because no matter what happens Saturday, our outlook for the season doesn't change. Yeah. If we were still outside the playoffs, I'll probably be saying that he needs to go. But so, George, let's go then. Let's go for our team.
Yeah.
Formation. 4. I want 2 up front. I might go like a 4-2-2-2.
I think we started the game against Crawley, didn't we? Start like a 3-4-1-2. That could work.
With who up front? Maka and who?
It might have been the other way around.
I think it was
3-4-2-1. Cutting edge again from me. Cutting edge.
Slocum has to stay in goal.
Yeah, Slocum stays in goal. Yeah.
4 at the back for me is Adam Chickson, Lewis McCarry.
Fullbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cameron and if fit Baldwin.
Yeah.
If not, it's going to have to be Rollo.
Okay.
Midfield 2, you're going to have to go, and they can't be defensive really either because they're not that kind of player. You're going to have to go Jim and Austin. Bostock if fit, or if available, if chosen. Yeah. I'll then go Jody and Crawley as sort of attacking mids. And then I play Jatta and Maka up front. Do you think there's any chance we see Scott on the bench?
Maybe, yeah.
We're
It's coming up to that time, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, we're mid-March.
Yeah, I reckon we could, yeah.
What are you changing in that lineup?
To be honest, I think that could work, but for me, I'd stick with a sort of three at the back. So, Chickson, Cameron, Baldwin, if available. Left wing back, Jody. Right wing back. Why can't I think of his name? The man.
Yeah.
Midfielders, Jim and Austin, and then Crawley. Ooh, I've stumped myself.
I think Bradford. I think I mean, I've still got my ticket for the Bradford game rearranged. Obviously, I do think if Notts lose against Accrington, we'll see Tom Wheeler and João Alves back in charge, possibly with Jim for Bradford. I really do. And let's just say throughout this whole episode 119, like this is the most downbeat we've been. But both of us, and I think the vast majority of Notts fans, we want him to succeed. Like, we love nothing more. Like, we don't want to lose on Saturday just so we lose a manager. Like, I would love us to. I know it's very out of the question. I'd love us to go and win 3-0, and then we start to pick up form. Because I think if you want us to lose because you're not fond of the manager, I don't think that necessarily works. Salford beating Stockport, well, great. That's Salford climbing closer to us. I really wanted it to work, but the signs are bleak, aren't they? They're bleak.
They are, yeah.
There's a lot of questions, George, of who would you bring in? My answer is I don't know.
Who's that?
I have no idea who you bring in.
What league are they from?
They're from the Slovakian second division. Solid.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, there was quite a few names fired around, wasn't there? Obviously, when Williams left.
That's why in my head, right? I have this nagging feeling that they're not going to get rid of him because the process.
I know what you mean.
So long for them.
Yeah.
Who's going to join at this point of the season? You sort of wait, don't you? But also, we're in free fall.
We are in free fall.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Right, score predictions. Get them in. Get your score predictions in. George, what's your score prediction for the Accrington game?
Accrington 2, Notts 1.
That's the first time in 119 episodes you predicted a loss.
Yeah.
I'm going Accrington 0, Notts 3.
Are you actually?
That's a hat trick. They're going to play my formation.
Honest.
No, I'm going. I don't know if I can do it. I'm going Accrington 3, Notts 3. Accrington 3 up, Notts score 3. Keep Stewart in the job. I can't predict a loss.
I can.
I know, you just have. Bradford. I don't even know if we can predict the Bradford score because I think we'll have a different manager if we lose the game.
Let's say we don't have a different manager.
Bradford 0, Notts 3.
I
think
I'm going to say 1-1.
I think we get 6 points
from our next 2 games.
From what I've watched in the last 2 games, I'm full of hope.
I'm leaving.
I'm full of hope. We're absolutely flying at the minute. We had 31 shots on Tuesday. 31 on our goal. We're flying. Right.
Flying.
What we got? We've got a 2-2. We've got a 4-1. We've got a 3-1 to Accrington. We've got a 3-1 to Notts. We've got a 2-0 loss. We've got a 3-2 win and a 2-1 win. We're not going down. Love that, Pamela. We've got a 3-0 Accrington and Bradford postponed, also known as 3-0 Bradford. If it's postponed again, we'll just give them the win. We've got a 1-1. We've got a 2-0 Aki, 2-0 Bradford. These are bleak. We've got a 2-2 and a 2-0. We've got a 1-1. We've got a 0-0 and a 3-1. we've got a 2-0 loss. We've got a 3-0 win. I'll put a couple more up there. We've got a 3-1 win, a 4-0. That must be the home team. We've got a 2-0 Bradford. And we'll leave with a nice positive one from Max. We've got a 4-0 Accrington. If we get the win, George, I can see us just edging it. Just about. That's my confidence level. Thank you all for joining us. Still massive amount of viewers on both YouTube and on Twitter. So we really do appreciate that. Thank you for the retweets if you have done so. You can see our channel members at the bottom. Massive shout out to those for helping us produce the content we do, and to Callum for gifting a Notts County Talk membership. Thank you so much. Safe travels to anyone traveling to Accrington and to Bradford. Will we have the same manager? Who knows? But thank you for all of your opinions that you've put in. Nicely put, and sort of respecting other people's opinions, which is always good to see, apart from respecting George's. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.